Welcome.
Welcome indeed. Hi, everybody. My name is Bree.
My name's Jamie.
And I'm Bobby of the Cryptid Corner.
All right, guys. Happy Thanksgiving, pre-Thanksgiving. Is that what we're calling this right now? Pre-Thanksgiving and Thanksgiving Eve?
It's pretty much Thanksgiving, I feel like. Some people are doing Thanksgiving right now.
This is the night where you go to your hometown and you go out drinking with at your old bars, and you're like all excited about it, and then you get there and you're like, yeah, I don't really.
You're like, that's why I left this place.
Exactly. That guy sells insurance. That guy's on heroin. That guy's on heroin and sells insurance. Quite depressing.
It really is. It's the holidays.
Apparently, it is one of the biggest
crazy over here.
It's one of the biggest bar nights of the year. It's the night before Thanksgiving.
And that
makes sense.
Green Wednesday. My mom was telling me that today is supposedly the biggest day for cannabis transactions. And so they estimate like whatever extra amount of $1 billion just from today, just for the day before Thanksgiving, just in cannabis.
Dang.
I mean, it makes sense, right? Nobody wants to go to Thanksgiving sober.
Speaking of cannabis, on Sunday, we're going to be doing a stoner sesh. It's not going to be recorded or live or anything, but anyone who's like watching in the chat who wants to come, I don't think we've quite nailed down the time yet, but we're just going to be hanging out and smoking weed. And we have like another podcast setting up a stoner playlist for us. I think we have like some little, we have some little exciting things that we're going to have in there.
How is this any different than any other live stream we do?
That's the funny part. It's really not. It's just going to be a bunch of random people hanging out. I think the whole point of it is like to not record it, so there's no pressure of like having to perform or like be in front of people. It's just going to be kind of like people hanging out and talking about ideas and stuff like that. And so I think that's going to be cool. And if you guys are in, we're going to be doing it this Sunday.
Word.
All right, let's get into fucking tonight's episode. What the hell are we talking about?
Well, I wanted to talk a little with you guys about Thanksgiving in general.
Let's begin.
Let's break the ice a little before we just jump right into it.
I love it.
First of all, Bree, how come it took you so long to get here?
Yeah.
Oh my God. You guys, the traffic is horrendous. It's awful. Usually it can take me like 10 minutes or so to get from my parents' house to my house, and it took me almost an hour. So it's like the traffic is just awful. And so I've been at their house kind of like cleaning and getting Thanksgiving dinners, like side dishes and stuff ready. And so I look like a cleaning lady, I feel like.
No, you're so cute.
I didn't have time to like freshen myself up. So I'll just stab myself in the eye later. That's okay. And that's why I was late.
We weren't that late. We were only like a minute late to the stream, so it's not that bad.
But yeah, I know. But usually I have like everything, I'm chilling here. No, I like rushed, like slammed the door open, like, oh my God.
So
ran in here.
What sides are you responsible for making? What were you making when you were over there?
I'm not responsible for anything.
Oh.
Luckily.
Just sit at the kids' table?
No.
You don't make sides at the kids' table.
No, I really don't have to do anything. Like
Okay.
no one expects anything from me.
That's
they
easy.
expect me to like, so like Josh and I will bring a baked brie, and it's pretty much just like brie.
Brings a brie.
We scrape off the yuckiest, spread some fig jam, and then we cook some bacon, chop that up, some basil, chop it up, put it all around, and then put like crescent shit, whatever that is on it, with a little egg wash, throw it in the oven. It's so good. That's really the only thing that we do. And even that's an appetizer. So I could always be like, no, I'm not going to do it.
I have my running list of finer things in life, and it's usually food. And I just added, you just reminded me, I think baked brie is right on
so
there.
So good. It is so good.
It's delicious.
Brie's pretty baked.
Yeah.
It's super baked.
No, but it's like chocolate, whiskey, coffee, steak, baked
brie.
brie.
I was like, just cheese in general, I feel like should be a whole
but baked
category.
brie is like that's like next level though.
Yeah, baked brie
That's
is super
like
next
something
level.
different.
Especially with a nice good like something to pair it with, like a good fig jam or some type of a jam to go with it. It brings it to a whole nother level.
The fig jam with you got your savory and your sweet, because we got the bacon, you got basil for a little herby flair. It's so good. But I mean, I help, but really no one expects anything of me other than to drink.
I was like, I think that's a good place to be on Thanksgiving though. That's like the prime. I was like, I aspire to be that. Like, yeah.
Many Thanksgivings to set that precedent that I can be contributing nothing to this meal. No. I will show up and drink the booze.
I drink all the Prosecco. They buy lots of bottles and they're like, aren't you going to drink it? And that's all I have to do.
Bless you.
I helped with cleaning, and usually I do the decorating and stuff because I think my grandma and I are the only people with like exquisite taste in the family.
Oh. We have the same.
My grandma and I are equally critical of others and expectations. We are the standard holders.
She sounds like a lovely lady.
We love Grams.
The darker side of me, the critical side of me, I think I definitely get that from her. Grandma.
Well, I have to, after this stream, I have to go make a broccoli cheese casserole. So
that sounds delicious. What goes into that?
And are you making it or is your wife making it? And you're helping?
I'm making it.
Oh,
what?
I'm a liberated man. I can make a casserole.
Holy shit.
Who put you in charge? I want to know, like, at what age do people are like, yeah, you can do things? Because I was like, I don't want to be a child and just show up. And they're like, no.
I went to a Friendsgiving like probably 15 years ago, and my friend brought his grandma's broccoli cheese casserole. So I was like, yo, dog, you got to give me the recipe for this. And I never write it down. And almost every year I like text him or email him like, yo, what's that recipe? I haven't seen this guy in like probably since that night. But,
all right, give us the details. What's inside?
It's literally Ritz crackers, a shitload of butter, Velveeta, and broccoli. Like that's all it is.
Easy peasy. Yeah. It's just the combo.
I'll post.
It sounds like poor man's casserole, but delicious.
Yeah, post it on Twitter.
I'll post his grandma's secret recipe on Twitter. So.
Yes, please. All right. I usually, when I'm with my family, I'm in charge of Thanksgiving and I pretty much cook everything. So the past few years, I've actively avoided trying to be around my family so that I didn't have to cook Thanksgiving dinner. I do things like go on cruises or just completely different states to avoid any holiday shenanigans. This year, I'm dating somebody, so I'm going to his family's house. So
yes. Fingers crossed that you behave yourself, Jamie. You better put that mouth of yours, be nice to his parents. You're in his house.
I'm going to be kind.
Jamie.
It's like that.
My little cherub.
I'm going to be kind. I'm going to be kind. I'm bringing lots of things. I made a pumpkin swirl cheesecake, and I made cookie butter.
Which looks delicious.
Mini butter.
Delicious.
I did send pictures of them. I'll post those on Twitter too. And then a mini cookie butter cheesecake to go with it as well, little mini ones. And then I'm also additionally making chocolate chip and peanut butter cookies with that. And then on top of that as well, I am also making sausage stuffing from scratch because I don't do no box shit.
There's no boxed allowed for Thanksgiving, I feel like.
What's funny is everyone, when they were like asking me to like cook the sides, they were like, yeah, just grab a box of stuffing and make it. And I was like,
who does that?
I was like, first of all, y'all don't know me. I don't do things from boxes, but thank you.
Well, I got to ask you guys this.
Okay.
Before we get into the real content after this little intro conversation. Are you guys pro cranberry sauce or anti cranberry sauce?
Anti.
Pro.
Anti. Brie, get out of here.
Yeah, get out of here, Brie. Get the fuck out.
Fuck.
We're over
you guys just said you love the Brie, so
that shit was like
the Brie.
That was invented before like flavor was before like.
You know what though? It's like, what kind of cranberries like are you eating though? Maybe you just haven't had quality.
Who cares?
I've had it from the can, and a lot of people like really are like, I'm a can person, and I've had it fresh. And either way, it's just a weird fucking berry that I'm not eating.
I don't put fruit on poultry. That is
it's weird.
That is
but I don't put it on like. I don't put it on like the meat, like it's everything together. It's just, you have to have that color. I don't know. I think it is so good. I don't eat anything from a can though.
All right. Quick day after Thanksgiving tip with leftovers. I don't know if
sauce.
Oh no, fuck that. That shit is so gross. Do you guys ever do Hawaiian sweet rolls?
Of course.
We always did Hawaiian sweet rolls. You take a leftover Hawaiian sweet roll, you put mayo, like those little thin cocktail pickles, slice those up.
Oh, this sounds gross so far.
You dared to tell me to get out for the cranberry.
I know.
What's wrong with pickles?
I hate pickles and I hate mayonnaise.
Okay, pickles are gross, but with the sweet
in the trash
Hawaiian
can.
roll,
you know what? People might want to hear the rest of this recipe.
Okay,
all right.
Give it.
All right, Hawaiian sweet roll, mayo, cocktail pickles, leftover turkey, Tabasco sauce, and that's it. Just do that. Make a little turkey sandwich sliders with mayo and cocktail pickles and Tabasco.
Okay, I have one Thanksgiving tip as well that I saw today. You get one of those like muffin tins that you get at like the dollar store that you can throw away, and you use that to put your Thanksgiving leftovers in because it's individual little portions, and then you could just pop the whole thing into the fucking oven when you want to eat it again.
Wow.
There's usually so much leftovers from my parents' house that it's just like their fridge will just be packed, and like the outside fridge and the inside fridge is just packed.
And we literally have to do it again like 30 days later.
No, for sure. And I can never decide. I'm always like, I should just pick a couple things and not have a whole Thanksgiving again, but I can never. I'm always like, maybe just like a little bit of this and like a little before I know it. It's just like a whole fucking thing, and it's just so good.
Here's why I love Thanksgiving. I think it's my favorite holiday. Is because it's like the magic of Christmas without all the bullshit of Christmas.
All the pressure of it. Yeah, the presents and the.
So you're just like, you got a little responsibility. Well, not Brie, because you don't have to cook anything.
She doesn't do anything, just drink and show up.
But all you got to do is just show up, watch football, and drink.
Blessed.
And eat a lot of food and take a nap. Like, what else do you want?
I don't nap. I just sit there like, why?
Oh, that's un-American too. Well, give a nap a shot. That might help you feel better.
No
shit. If you're not doing anything, I guess maybe I'll hit you up and we'll record some things. I'll get you drunk and we'll do some Patreon.
Now, Brie, you have our first cryptid of the evening, right?
Yes, you do. Speaking of Thanksgiving.
So, when did we decide that I had this?
Right now.
You fucker.
Oh yeah, that thing.
This is the Gobblesquatch. This is our cryptid of the fucking holiday. Not just of the episode, of the holiday.
The holiday.
This is a beast. This cryptid in particular, I do not think it has any major background or legitimacy whatsoever.
All right. Did you draw that before we came on the air?
I
did not know. It is the only picture on the internet of the Gobblesquatch, which I don't think is necessarily quite the Gobblesquatch, of more just somebody drawing a picture of an angry turkey.
What's
well, I
that
think
weird,
this is why this is how it came about,
worm
though.
Coming out.
All right, Bree, start from the beginning. Where did this come about at?
This is a tale of a tale that happened in Virginia. But there really is no such thing as a Gobblesquatch. I think that whoever created this cryptid in their imagination was just to have this turkey that is just going to seek the revenge of all of its brothers and sisters and cousins. Because all of the turkeys are sacrificed on a mass scale this day. We can all agree on that. So why not invent a Gobblesquatch, a big turkey beast that's going to stomp its way out of the forest to seek revenge on all of the people that have sacrificed his family. All for one day of deliciousness.
One question.
You could feed Delaware with that thing, though.
Do you think that if we all collectively tonight go to sleep believing in the Gobblesquatch, that when we wake up that tomorrow that the Gobblesquatch could possibly be real? Like we manifest it? Yeah. A little tulpa action.
Oh my Lord.
I'm going to go ahead and veto the Gobblesquatch tulpa idea.
No.
I don't want any part of that shit.
No.
I mean, if we do, though, that means it's coming for us as well.
But what if we don't eat a turkey?
Tofurkey?
We could be like, we created you, now we will destroy you.
What if we instead do like duck or something? Then would we have a duck squatch?
I mean, it's really
squatch.
The quack squatch.
Oh yeah, those are real.
I think that it should be a thing. I mean, it just seems right, balance
I feel like
out
when we have all these
evil.
we have all these holidays where we have like, like the turkeys and the fucking Easter bunnies. I think we should now have a matching cryptid for every holiday that just counteracts what, like if like they have the Easter bunny, but it's like the Easter bunny's evil twin who goes and like
Donnie Darko.
Yeah, and like steals all the eggs and shit. So that's basically what the Gobblesquatch is for Thanksgiving. It is the anti-Thanksgiving creature.
Ooh, you better start thinking what Christmas is going to be, because that's going to be dark.
Jesus.
I was like, well, Jesus is technically a zombie.
She always says zombie day.
Yeah. So like we could
that
talk
would be
about
Easter.
that. Easter. Yes. I'm sorry. So no, Christmas is his birthday, but it's not really his birthday. Christmas is a weird one, and I think we're going to talk about Krampus on Christmas.
Oh yeah.
Krampus.
I get the Krampus once a month.
Krampus
right,
is like grandpa.
Oh.
All right, I've been drinking whiskey.
I missed that joke.
It's okay. It wasn't a joke.
It was more just like a little punny quip.
All right. Well,
listen.
Go ahead.
There is not. If Gobblesquatch was a real thing, there's not one person in this world that could wrangle that sucker in a net. I tell you that. Not one person.
I believe you.
I think of like the Macy's Thanksgiving parade, the giant turkey balloon. Like,
is that not Gobblesquatch?
But Gobblesquatch is like pissed. He's not on a bunch of tethers for some like sweet souls that are just walking it along.
Well, maybe that's why he's pissed, because he's tethered down.
So
we're gonna go make broccoli cheese casserole.
No, we just need like an angry person to like run through the streets and cut the strings, and then it like is loose, and then it just
free.
Eats everyone that was standing by the Macy's parade in Times Square.
And it's back this year in person. It's not digital or whatever.
Oh, and now we've come full circle in the history of America. It is a giant slaughter.
Massacre? Ah, yes. When we're talking about the original Thanksgiving, that was not a nice, wonderful feast. Everybody remember your roots.
Yes, exactly. People are saying Indigenous Day.
Yeah, we do. Yes, we like that.
I've always been like, I'm surprised that the cancel culture hasn't
taken away Thanksgiving,
blown for Thanksgiving. However, I will say that I put this on someone's TikTok earlier today, actually, that I think we can transmute anything. So even if it's a disgusting holiday, I think that we can turn it into something nice, and we can acknowledge
They did that. It's called
tragedy.
Thanksgiving.
It's called Thanksgiving, exactly.
But like not think of it in the same terms that people still do. There's a lot of people out there that still think that the white people didn't do anything. I just had this conversation with someone yesterday. They were like, it was the Spanish that came and slaughtered and spread the diseases. And I was like, yes and no. It was also that dirty Mayflower. So, I don't know.
Dirty Mayflower going in wrong.
I will not be subscribing to woke Thanksgiving. I will be
woke Thanksgiving.
Woke Thanksgiving.
Wokesgiving. That's not my shit at all. But okay.
All right. Let's get into the real.
You're just like burn it down, like fuck it. Just like it is what it is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The
chaos.
That's what's great about mythology is you can acknowledge the tragedies of the past, but the mythos of Thanksgiving can morph into what it is, and how we celebrated it, and whatever. Anyway, this is about a little goblin creature in Massachusetts.
Yes, let's
massive two shits.
Massive two shits.
Speaking of Thanksgiving, that took place in Plymouth, Massachusetts, not far from there.
I mean, that's highly debated. Wait a second. We've done this before. We've talked about it in a Thanksgiving episode. Plymouth, maybe, kind of, sort of. Just say Massachusetts is fine.
It happened in New England.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So speaking of all that, not far from Plymouth is what we've talked about many times before on the show, called the Bridgewater Triangle, which is a hyper active area for a lot of high strangeness phenomenon, but it's probably the most concentrated area for what is called the Pukwudgie.
The Pukwudgie.
Does he play hockey?
No, he plays.
I always think of hockey. I can't believe there isn't a hockey team out there that are the Pukwudgies.
Quite honestly, that's a genius fucking name. I don't know why. It's a great little fucking mascot.
It really is. It really is. They have the Bruins in Massachusetts already, though.
We should petition. Let's petition to change it to the Pukwudgie.
They do minor league hockey there as the Pukwudgies. Anyway,
I'm down with the Bruins, and that's about it. Sharks and Bruins.
Sharks for life.
Anyway, Sharks for life. Sharks and Bruins. That's about it.
So anyway, the Pukwudgie is based in Algonquin and Wampanoag folklore.
Mm-hmm.
It's Algonquin, directly translated to something to the degree of person of the wilderness or little people of the woods that vanishes, something like that. It's kind of like a Godzilla thing where you see him like saying a bunch of stuff and then the subtitle's just like one word. It's like the opposite of that. Pukwudgie, obviously that means person of the wilderness. A lot of the info I want to go into tonight is based on a couple of sources I just want to give credit to. Monsters in the Woods on YouTube. It was a great channel. Exploring the Unsolved on YouTube. Of course, the legendary and always dependable Encyclopedia of Fairies and World Folklore and Mythologies, which is highly recommended. And a documentary I've watched a couple times called The Bridgewater Triangle, which is
so good.
It's a good one.
Awesome. Pretty awesome.
It's a good one, Mike.
So that's this is the part where you guys asked me, Bobby, what is a Pukwudgie?
It's Bibby. It's Bibby.
Oh, yeah, it's Bibby. That's right. It's Bibby and Bro. Bibby, what the fuck is
Bibby
a Pukwudgie? Yeah.
Bro.
Yeah, that's what I put on our Twitter the other day. I was like, from henceforward, Bobby is known as Bibby because that's what the phone autocorrects to. Bree is now Bro because it corrects to that, and Jamie's just fucking Jamie because it is what it is. Yeah. So what the fuck is the Pukwudgie, Bibby?
What the puck is the Pukwudgie?
Yeah, exactly.
So basically, again, based in Algonquin and Wampanoag folklore, found all through New England and then up into like the Great Lakes area as well. There's kind of different perceptions as to its nature and intentions and behavior depending on the region. But the one I want to focus on is the one obviously found in New England, more specifically Bridgewater Triangle, Massachusetts area. What it is, it's a devious little 2 to 3 foot tall, hairy troll-like porcupine creature with gray, smooth skin. Bit of a tormentor or a trickster or a manipulator. You see a lot of those motifs throughout folklore.
Loki vibes,
mad Loki vibes on this one. But not as handsome as that man that plays him in the movie. Maybe, I don't know.
You like him?
You might be into Pukwudgies. I don't know.
Pukwudgies too short for me.
You might be into Pukwudgies.
Legend has it they have magic poison arrows. They shoot arrows at you. These arrows can start fires and like cast spells or whatever. Here's another good profile point. If I take a David Paulides term there. Profile point of high strangeness, it's affiliated with orbs quite a bit. Whether that be an orb that will lure you into the realm of the Pukwudgie, or the Pukwudgie morphs into the orb or morphs from the orb to the Pukwudgie, whatever it may be. They're affiliated with orbs, as are a lot of high strangeness things of this nature. Shape shifting. I want to talk about shape shifting for a second. Okay. Was it pareidolia? Pareidolia is when you like try to create something out of something that you're unsure of what it is. It's like when you look into the clouds, you see like faces and stuff.
Yes, It's when your brain tries
things together.
Exactly, yeah.
Right. So, or like a lot of people will think that, people going out to look for Bigfoot, a lot of the things they see is just a result of pareidolia. But as far as shape-shifting goes, yeah. And I'm not saying that I don't believe in things like skinwalkers or shapeshifters in general, but I feel like when something's described as a shapeshifter, it can be a little bit of a red flag, not so much as to the phenomenon itself, but maybe the eyewitness account itself, because shapeshifting would insinuate that it's possibly a misidentification based on pareidolia and then the immediate realization as to what it is. So it's like, oh my God, there's a little goblin creature in front of me in the woods over there. And then you're like, oh my God, it just shapeshifted to a bobcat or whatever. You're like, well, maybe it was just a bobcat the whole time.
And then your brain made sense of it.
Exactly. So that's one of my more, I guess, scientific explanations of shape-shifting or skeptical explanations of shape-shifting.
What if it shifts more than once?
Well, then it's a shapeshifter, Bree.
Yeah, Bobby. Maybe you should think about that, Bibby.
Then it's a shapeshifter.
All right, bro.
Okay. I'm not saying I don't. I'm not saying I'm not trying to diss shapeshifting. I'm just saying
just playing devil's advocate.
I'm just playing Pukwudgie advocate.
What the puck?
So, according to Wampanoag legend, okay, here's where the fun starts, ladies.
Yes, give it to me.
Very deep.
The Pukwudgie was originally had like a harmonious relationship with humans.
Mm-hmm.
And then they started to become jealous of the Wampanoag. In addition to that, they always tried to help the Wampanoag in various ways, but for whatever reason, their help was always like backfired to be, whether it be like, like when when you have like a little pesky little brother that's like always trying to help, but always ends up doing more harm than good kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then on top of that, the Wampanoags had a very revered relationship with Maushop, which is the creation giant of the time that is said to have created Cape Cod. Okay. So we got giants, we got Wampanoags, we got goblin Pukwudgie creatures here so far. So they became spiteful and jealous of the Wampanoag, and they began tormenting them in various mischievous ways, to the point where the Wampanoag went to the Washop creation giant, let him know about this or whatever, and Mashop, the creation giant, gathered up all the Pukwudgies in the region and then shook them into confusion and then exiled them throughout all of New England, right?
Specific.
Yeah, very much so. Eventually, the ones that quote unquote survived this very true account of giants and goblin creatures, they reunited and kind of returned to their original location. And it was from then on that they became actually pretty nefarious little fuckers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Burning villages, kidnapping children. And then eventually the legend has it, they tricked Mashab into the water and killed him with poison arrows.
So they killed what did it to him?
They killed the creation giant, yes. The Nephilim of the area, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the folklore legend. I mean, I'm sure there's other ones out there, but that's kind of the origin story according to the Wampanoag. And there's some contentions about whether or not they did kill Mashab, the creation giant, or not. We don't need to get all into that. But one thing that first off, any questions or comments so far?
Oh, so many.
Yeah. Okay. Bree, you go first.
Could they have been bewitched? So maybe they, obviously, maybe they wanted to seek some type of revenge for being used in some way, but maybe they were bewitched by these things. So they weren't aggressive in true nature, but by being bewitched, they became this like nefarious little creature demon.
A vengeful little creature.
Right, but maybe that's like not their innate nature, like that's not their real heart.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think it's like anything else. A man can be turned to the dark side, like in that movie Star Trek. Star Wars.
Bree didn't get the joke.
No,
okay, I'm glad that
the look on your face was so confused.
Like in that movie,
like the
bridge on the River Kwai.
We better know Star Wars in here.
Just making sure you're awake for class, Bree. Don't worry about it.
Exactly. Okay. Any
I've been watching
questions?
Harry Potter lately, so that's interesting that you say that.
Yes, Pukwudgies can be found in the Harry Potter universe as well.
Oh,
Thanks for bringing that up, because I've never read or seen any of those movies.
Oh, perfect.
I just read about it.
Okay, I have a question about this Pukwudgie. So far, to me, it sounds like a Pukwudgie is a small Bigfoot.
Yeah, that certainly is a theory I wanted to go down at some point.
What?
He's a little mischievous. He'd be stealing your apples.
You go
leaving handprints on your cars.
Bigfoot isn't that mischievous though.
I go Bigfoot of the gap
minding
theory
his
here.
Business.
No, totally mischievous. Those Bigfoots are very
very mischievous.
Dubious.
Maybe not
burning down houses
that we know of.
Well, think of it this way: like the more
they'll die. So how would we know?
Wait, question.
Yes.
Question. Could they be responsible for like the fires in California, like the Paradise fires, and could that?
No, those are just energy weapons from space. Everyone knows that.
Yeah, in California, those are energy weapons. Yeah, always.
Those are energy weapons, bro. Don't even worry about it.
Bullshit.
And then you guys don't clear out
that's not.
You guys don't clear out the bottom of the
oh,
forest,
that's right. I should have. I know when Trump said that, we should have just been like fucking sweeping more. I was like, damn, why didn't we think of that?
So anyway, what were we talking about here? Oh yeah,
fucking Pukwudgies.
Well, here's what I'm starting to realize as I like kind of dig deeper and deeper into these like kind of alternative ancient history, and like you hear things about like what's that thing called in Indonesia they found that's like a little tiny Bigfoot, orang pendek, and then they found a little like hobbit creature down there that's probably affiliated with the orang pendek. The point is, it seems like on the human family tree, it was almost like Tolkien at one time, like in the very distant past. If we're not subscribing to, rank and file academic history, ancient history, like it was almost like, yeah, there were like elves in the woods, and then there were like little people, and then there were the humans, and then there were the goblins. It's almost like a extrapolation of that world. And if you go down that road, it's like, it could be a little tiny baby Bigfoot messing around. I don't know.
Like traditional
could be a lot
folklore?
of things. Yeah. I mean, or some sort of like deviation, like human
I totally subscribe
mythological
to that, by the way.
deviation or description of it. So I don't know. Who knows? That's one theory I kind of came up with in researching this, is like, if you go down that road, there seems to have been a lot of different kind of bipedal, intelligent, sentient races of humans or human-like creatures out there. So I don't know.
Could the Pukwudgie be the missing link?
No, there is no missing link.
Okay. Wait. Wait. Skirt.
The missing link is the Anunnaki. The Anunnaki experimenting with human DNA. Everyone knows.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to make. I thought you weren't subscribing to it like as a whole, and I was like, wait a second, Babby. Do you think that like
it's just evolution?
I thought you were gonna be like
no,
creationism.
I don't think that there's like a missing link per se. There's just like the human family tree branches out in different directions and evolves in different ways. Like whenever you see like the little stair step of like the chimp to the Neanderthal to the human or whatever, like I don't think
it doesn't make
how
sense.
that happened. Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
There's more to the story.
But anyway,
we were engineered.
We were engineered by the Anunnaki. Welcome to that one time I was abducted by aliens.
Just to put it out there, because a lot of people don't I think people that don't fully look into the Anunnaki thing, they just think that it's just like, oh, we just throw Anunnaki out there like, yeah, it was aliens. But I think a lot of people have to really understand that those Sumerian tablets were written thousands and thousands of years before the Bible, and they are miraculously alike.
Yeah.
The biggest difference is that when you read the creation tablets, they sound almost like the whole creation was in a laboratory, opposed to,
well, and I think
like ribs out of thin air.
I was like, but that also gets into the whole idea too of like, is it possible that the Bible is just the creation tablets, but interpreted in a way
right
for them?
The creation myth is super consistent in a lot of cultures.
Exactly.
There's a lot of motifs.
But that's the oldest one that we have. It's the oldest one that we have.
And also the Sitchin stuff has a lot of criticism. Like apparently that guy was.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's a lot, but I think. But listen, I think with every researcher out here, people like go fully into their stuff, and then they find discrepancies in the story, and then they totally throw the person out. When I think that people get onto something legitimate and they figure it out to the extent that like their brain, their consciousness could at the time. And I think we should take from what they're saying and then we put the rest of the pieces together, opposed to thinking that one researcher had it all figured out. I think had a lot of it figured out, a lot of it, but I don't think that just because some of the things don't add up anymore that we should throw it all away.
That's essentially what a narrative is, though. It's just the assimilation of this different information into like what's culturally acceptable as the consensus, right? And that's why we see so many similarities between the Sumerian tablets and like Norse mythology and Greek mythology and biblical, creation myths and the flood myth, all that stuff transcends all these cultures. So it seems to be coming from one common ancestry, just kind of interpreted and passed down and distorted in different ways through the generations, right? So we got to hit on all those like bullet points and see what we can decipher from that. But anyway, the Pukwudgie has poison arrows, and they can turn into orbs. Okay,
I like it. It's already sounding very Bigfooty to me because orbs and UFOs and Bigfoot sightings.
It's super reminiscent of like Bigfoot behavior as far as I'm concerned, or at least a lot of the same motifs you find in high strangeness. So they're known for everything from like tapping on windows and like mischievously like trying to get people's attention and stuff. Ultimately, again, they're kind of a trickster, nefarious little trickster fella. They're into like luring people into the woods or off of cliffs, for example.
But they like to watch them fall.
Yes. So the Freetown State Forest in Fall River, Mass is more or less, I think it's actually part of the Bridgewater Triangle. If it's not, it's right
on the outskirts. Yeah.
This place is like teeming with hauntings and Bigfoot sightings, animal mutilations. The Freetown State Forest in Fall River, Massachusetts.
Mike, if you're in the chat, will you tell us if that's in that area?
It is.
Can we write this down?
No, like in the triangle. I mean, like, is it in the triangle?
It is. It's like right there. Fall River is like right.
Breeze, like whole episode. Let's do it.
It's like southern Massachusetts, just north of Rhode Island border over there. But anyway, all kinds of high strangeness, as you guys have talked about at nauseum, I'm sure. And also this area was kind of known as like a Native American battlefield, like a lot of negative energy, right?
Well, that explains it right there.
But within the forest, there's like this 100-foot cliff called the Ledge. And there's a whole legend about like the Lady of the Ledge was this Native American woman that, fell in love with some like white man or something. And the father disapproved. So she jumped off and killed herself, things like that.
Oh, okay. Dramatic.
But what's interesting about it is like there's a lot of reports of people feeling like this intense temptation to jump off this cliff, and a lot of unexplained suicides. And by what that I mean is like people that didn't seem to be like mentally ill or like suicidal turn up having jumped off that ledge. Now, again, a lot of negative energy, but that does not negate the fact that the Bridgewater Triangle in general is more or less said to be like a dumping ground for the mafia, or just like people just go out there to like get rid of bodies and stuff. So it could have been some sort of regular hotspot just to chuck people.
Well, it's like you already have that legend going on, so why not play into it and further it and continue it.
And it's kind of like that thing where as that legend evolves and grows and becomes a part of the cultural consciousness, it kind of like catches traction or starts to like spread in a psychic or mental or a spiritual way in some sense. So like you have, what's that forest in Japan where everyone goes to kill themselves?
Oh, I know what you're talking about, but I don't know the name of it.
So it's almost like, is it chicken or the egg? Is it chicken or the egg? Is this like, did we create this mythology around this place because of this one event that happened, and then it caught fire within the culture, and then people just started giving that area energy by going out there and killing themselves? Or was it actually inherently a negative energy place that attracted people as to be a appropriate place to kill themselves?
And so, please do not be a Jake Paul and go there and film it.
No, don't do that. Oh yeah, that guy did that. That's
right. Yeah, and then he everyone goes all fucking up in arms about it. So let's not go there.
Forbidden Forest.
He did, and he took his little camera in there, and he was like, "I'm gonna find the dead people."
What's wrong with that?
I believe that in his video there was a dead person hanging from a tree. Oh, in the chat it says the suicide forest.
Yeah, it's a severely
suicide forest
thing that guy did.
It was a decent movie.
So go ahead. You have a question, Brie?
You have a question?
Comment?
Oh, comment. The more we talk, the more I feel like last week I was the manifest of the Pukwudgie.
I was just going to say at the end of this, I was going to say this Pukwudgie sounds very much Brie-like to me. Like it wants to like take
only
people
when
to
I
the
was
edge.
Crazy.
Wants to take people
I'm
to the
not
edge
crazy
and push them
anymore.
off and like watch them fall. Like that sounds very Scorpio Brie energy.
No, I'm back to normal. I'm happy now. I'm surprised you haven't noticed.
You were fine last week. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
I think I was crazy last week. I was struggling
big
time.
I'm not going to argue with a crazy woman. All right.
No. All right. Back to the Pukwudgies, damn it.
So probably the most famous modern encounter. It's the one that you can see. I think it's on like Monsters and Mysteries in America. This guy's in the Bridgewater Triangle documentary. He's this guy named William Russo. He's the guy with like the fedora on with like the who's the fake Indiana Jones? Alan Quartermain, like leopard print thing around, like a leopard print fedora. Anyway, it's this guy.
Sassy.
He's very New England, very like just blunt and hey, I saw what I saw kind of thing. And he was from Raynham, Massachusetts, which is right around that area. Out walking his dog one night, and for whatever reason, again, think about what we know about the Pukwudgie so far as them being ones that lure people into atypical places, right? For whatever reason, he doesn't know why. For whatever reason, he decided to go a different route than he usually does walk the dogs. So he went through kind of this path through the woods that was, when they cut down like for power lines and stuff, there'll be like a path where they put the power lines like in the middle of the woods, which by the way is said for a lot of different cryptids use those as more or less little highways to get through the woods. But
crazy, that's electrically charged. That's
no, it's because they cut the grass around it to make like a fire lane or something they call it. It's like a buffer.
They also had to clear it out to put up those towers and shit.
Exactly. Yeah, but they maintain it so that if a fire happens, the fire doesn't go like at the bottom of the tower. So they keep that area cleared all the time.
Right.
Gotcha.
Right. So he's going a different way, more or less through the woods, comes upon like an old water wheel and starts to approach a road and notices that his dog starts freaking out. Somehow the animals always know first.
They always know,
right?
the animals and the babies. They're
tapped in. The dog starts cowering and kind of shaking and whining. And then to his surprise, there in the distance underneath a street light looks to be what seems to be, a 3 to 4 foot tall, hairy creature with a pot belly. He described its face to be like a chipmunk. And it was like luring him with the words "Iwan Chu, Iwan Chu."
Iwan Chu.
And he even says
this sounds familiar. Was this in the Bridgewater?
Yes, I just said that.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Pay attention, Bree. Jesus Christ.
Sorry. Okay, yeah. Okay.
I'm not going to repeat myself again.
That was a Pukwudgie? God damn, I didn't know that.
Iwan Chu. And then he goes on to say, like, he just got the hell out of there. And he was trying to figure out what this thing was trying to say to it. And he believes it was saying, we want you here. So more or less like along with the consistencies of the behavior of a Pukwudgie, it was trying to lure him into its region, I guess, to do God knows what with that crazy.
I was going to ask you what do you think?
What do you guys think would happen if you would have gone forward?
I mean, if we're gonna be talking about like light orbs and shit, I feel like what if he went, then he might have been probed by something.
If it were me, we would have partied for sure.
You think so? You would have been like,
yeah, I think that
I feel like
they would have
like,
loved me.
I was like,
they would have fucking loved me.
Yeah, you went into their camp, you became their friend. You're like, let's go push people off cliffs.
Can I add this to my tag name? Can I be like Pukwudgie Brie?
Yeah, I love it.
I love them.
No, you're
now.
Baked Brie.
Baked Brie is great.
You're Baked Brie.
Baked bro.
Baked bro.
So what seems to be the consensus as to like the advice given when encountering one of these things is just simply ignore it and like walk the other direction. And what's interesting about that is you see this a lot with everything. Like it's almost like the supernatural or the paranormal. There's some sort of like field or veil or something that they can't penetrate them and interact with humans. They can't penetrate them, Brie, with their Pukwudgie essence. And just in general, though, like anything supernatural seems to have this almost like you have to give it consent in order for it to actually interact with you.
Like the devil.
Yep.
I'm a big fan of consent when penetrating. But anyway,
spit first.
It's always required.
I'm just kidding.
Wow.
I'm just kidding.
But if you think about it, let's get back on. Let's class. Okay, I'm not really mad at you, Brie. God
sorry, baby.
I didn't know we were gonna devolve into this.
Listen, Bibby.
This is literally my most I guess profound or insightful realization about all this that I wanted to talk to you guys about on this particular episode, and now it's just all gone to shit with the.
I'm sorry, reel it in. So the Pukwudgie.
All right. Anyway, I'm sorry.
Steer clear.
So you have to give these things consent. So you think about like inviting in a vampire or like a black-eyed child, or biblically, it's like, well, this earth is man's domain, and demons have to trick you into giving them permission to, go forward with their malevolent plans or whatever they might be, right? So it's like this common thread with this stuff. It almost seems like you have to be a willing participant in order for these things to hang. Everyone's looking.
Oh, I would love to test the limits of the Pukwudgie. Like if you do give consent, like what would happen? I don't think they would kill you.
You're gonna jump off a cliff.
Like yeah, that's the whole thing. I think like they kill you, like they burn your house down, they like push you off cliffs and you die. That's like the whole theme. It's like they murder you.
I'm gonna go ahead and recommend not consenting with a Pukwudgie.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree. All that Brie, you don't want to play with fucking Ouija boards, but all of a sudden you want to get real friendly with a fucking Pukwudgie.
Yeah, and that's a good example too. Ouija boards are another one of those things. You're like inviting the other side into your domain or whatever. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting when you think of that, because you see it all the time in this kind of stuff. Even with Bigfoots, I mean, we don't know for sure, because there's a lot of like missing 411 theories where Bigfoots actually do kidnap you, and there's like a lot of Native American stories about the boogeyman thing of like the Sasquatch is going to come like take you from the village or whatever. But a lot of accounts you hear from people are like super scary, confrontational, aggressive accounts, but they live through it. Like they don't actually, they might bluff charge, but they don't actually hurt anyone. Through. But again, if they hurted someone, if they hurted someone, that could be like, we wouldn't know to be there to hear the story, because they're probably Sasquatch food. You know what I mean?
No, 100%. Brie, you raised your hand, so go ahead.
What if the Pukwudgie has been the menace and all of these Bigfoot situations? It's not actually Bigfoot. It's just like Pukwudgie fucking around, doing all the menacey shit, and Bigfoot's taking the rap.
Like the Pukwudgie have these like big little feet shoes that they wear, and they like stomp around, and they're like knocking on
maybe
shit.
They're coexistent all the time. And the Pukwudgie starts all this bullshit and then dips because they're tiny. They're like, pew. And the Bigfoot's just sitting there like, well, fuck. Okay, whatever. I'll vanish. But they get the rap.
Yes. Right. Well, what other fairies or folklore is the Pukwudgie reminiscent of? do you think? Besides
fairies
Bigfoot,
in general,
of course.
though.
I was like fairies in general because they're very tricky.
But that's such a broad term, though, too.
100%. The Fae.
They're
broader
known for but they're known for.
It's like you never want to make getting deals with them because they're always like some weird
like,
back alley bullshit.
Mm-hmm. And then they fuck with you.
Yeah, but what about, I mean, other small trickster creatures like leprechauns and trolls?
Leprechauns, trolls,
goblins.
I would say, if anything, this is very reminiscent of Troll to me. If you want to talk about like what it looks like, Trolls a little bit look like Pukwudgies.
Yeah. I used to. You remember? Have you ever been? I don't know if you ever been to ski. There's like the Scandinavian trolls, not the troll dolls, but like those weird, like wood carved.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I've seen those before. Yeah,
that whole archetype of the troll reminds me a lot of what a lot of the artist renditions of Pukwudgies look like. And I mean, the little tiny trickster fairy is like all over the world, though, right? You have like the Nano and the Dunde and like trolls and goblins, like it's all over the place, and they're always usually up to. It's always this. Well, they're not necessarily our friends, but they're not necessarily evil. It could go one or the other. It's never like. It's very grayed out as far as. It just seems like they're like annoying little fuckers that, kind of just stir the pot.
Sounds to me like they're misunderstood.
Yes, that's why they push people off cliffs.
Yeah, for sure. Exactly. I feel like Bree is identifying too much with these Pukwudgies over here. She's like, maybe I'm not an alien. Maybe I'm not Pleiadian. I am Pukwudgie. Wrong P.
Yeah. And then I started thinking too, like if we entertain the idea that perhaps these creatures did manifest in a physical form because of like the cultural consciousness of a past time, right? Or like the agreement amongst the tribes agree that this is real, whether it was originally or not, it's still manifested in some way. Are we just interacting with like more or less like the psychic remnants of past civilizations and what they tulped up? What's up?
Okay. I raised my hand. Okay. So I love that. I was like, I love that you brought this up. Okay. So it's interesting that you say that because I had just seen a theory recently that was saying that ghosts are not real and neither are like Bigfoots or any of these things. And what's happening is that because all time happens at the same time and all of our universes and parallel universes are stacked on top of each other, that we're not necessarily seeing ghosts, but we're seeing shifts within our multi-dimensions of other glimpses of other worlds happening. So that's why you have a lot of times where maybe you see a ghost that might be like intelligent or something, or it seems like they're like doing, like they're on like a path of doing something. It's because in their real world, it's real. And they're just like pugging along and like, pushing their cart down a fucking aisle or some shit.
Yeah, or it's like
imprint.
It's some sort of psychic imprint. And some people are more susceptible to receiving those.
But the whole thing is that it's not necessarily a ghost because time is all happening at the same time. So it's like you're not seeing like a dead person. It's just it's actively happening when you're happening just in a different place. It's like the Lovecraft thing. Like if we think that we're just overlapping frequencies, if you tap into a new frequency, there's like crazy tentacled creatures flying all around you everywhere and stuff, right? Totally. It's that kind of thing. We're all overlapped in frequencies, and again, I think some people are more sensitive to that kind of stuff, or maybe breaking that, those vulnerable, parts of the veil for a few seconds and seeing that kind of stuff. So I don't know, but I think what I was getting at though is like if we look at like aliens and even Bigfoots and some of these more modern archetypes of these kind of creatures, what if like post World War II, like intelligence agencies got a hold or figured out the formula as to how to manifest these tulpas into the real world from like a military industrial complex kind of angle, weaponized, so organically throughout time, you had again like tribal cultures and just natives and stuff, like they assign these visuals to these various activities, and then sure enough we know that, hey, this thing is a real thing, it's a little Pukwudgie out in the woods, it's going to burn your family or whatever. And then what if like the CIA like started investigating that, or like the Thule Society or whatever, and they're like, and all the Aleister Crowley, like Jack Parsons stuff, and they're like, oh, we know how to like do that at will now. And that's why we have the Greys. The Greys have like been What is that?
Summoned into our reality in some way.
The Philadelphia experiment. Is that the one I'm thinking of where they what's the one where they were on like the weird boat and they tried to like
Oh, yes.
It's
okay.
Philadelphia,
the
right?
Philadelphia experiment.
But when it was like you can see through it though.
But what I'm saying is that not kind of that same technology though. So I feel like if you're talking in that same realm of like our government doing something like that, our government kind of sort of has, if you believe in the Philadelphia experiment that it was real, that they've already kind of experimented in that.
I think that they have in one way or another. I think like you look at like Project Maltog, the one that Stranger Things is based on.
Oh, I don't remember which one it is. There's too many of them projects.
Montauk.
I think Montauk.
Montauk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, stuff like that just seems like, something might be, bureaucratically successful in bringing these creatures into our reality, whereas in previous ancient times it was like more of a like natural way of summoning these things. It happened more organically. I don't know. It was just a little.
That's why they're pissed. Maybe that's why they were cool, and then because we're forcing it, they were like, "Fuck these people,"
or weaponizing it from yeah. I don't know. It's just fun to think about.
It reminded me of The Mist.
Mm-hmm.
Very similar.
Big time.
That movie's so good.
And then they tried to do a TV show.
It was on Thanksgiving. Good. I watched it on Thanksgiving.
So is it a Thanksgiving movie?
Don't watch that. That was so depressing. I went home with you, Jamie. I don't know if you remember that.
I do. I remember.
I went home with you that night.
I remember.
And I was like, that's the worst ending ever.
So sad.
Even Stephen King saw that ending. That's not the same ending as in the book, but Stephen King saw. He's like, "Yep, that's how it should have been."
Yeah, that's 100%. Yeah. All right. Do we have any more comments on the Pukwudgie before we get into our Factor fucking Sci-Fi? Or not Factor Sci-Fi? Yeah, Factor Sci-Fi. Yeah. Factor Sci-Fi. All right. I'll go first. I am going to, hands down, without a doubt, give the Pukwudgie a 10. It is 100% fact. It is a real thing, and I believe in it.
Wow. Any elaboration on that?
No, I think it is very reminiscent of the Bigfoot to me, and I believe in Bigfoot, and Pukwudgies aren't too far off. So just by that rationale, I'm going to say fucking fact it.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. I love it.
I give the Gobblesquatch a 0.
A 0. Yeah, I give that one a 0.
And I give the Pukwudgie a 10.
Yes.
Wow.
I'm excited for what Bobby has to say.
I give the Pukwudgie like a 3.
Wow.
Yes.
Because I feel like there's just a lot of different sources of how this could have kind of assimilated into its own thing. Like misidentification mixed with like, maybe other native tribes that they try to dehumanize in some way, bad luck, bad harvest seasons or whatever, like just all these different things that, combine into, and then we want to put some sort of, physical description to it.
You're sounding very Jamie-like over here with your explanation, like I have been usually. I'm like, well, because...
Yeah, and that's, again, it might go back to what I was saying earlier, is like maybe after all that you can actually summon something by doing so, but I don't know. It's just it just seems like like think about all the bad vibes, the negative energy in general in that area in Massachusetts, like or like cautionary tale type myths of like, don't go in the woods, kids, or the Pukwudgie's going to kidnap you. Which again, is you can credit that to things that I would give more credence to, like Bigfoot. But
so I was going to say, then, when you say misidentification, are you thinking more that their encounters with these Pukwudgies, they're having a different cryptid or an animal or a mixture of both?
Probably an animal, or just misidentification. Well, think about it this way too. Like, I feel like a Bigfoot would be a lot harder to misidentify, especially if it's an up close encounter, because it's like 7 to 12 feet tall.
Yeah.
Whereas like a Pukwudgie is more or less the same height as like a lot of regular animals in the woods. Yeah. But who knows? Like, if they are real, I don't think that they're some sort of like flesh and blood. I think they are some sort of like ethereal thing if they are real, but I don't think they're little cave dwelling goblins that live in the swamps, but
they're like
I could be wrong.
interdimensional beings, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh wait, but I believe that too. I'm not going to give it a 10 as a full-on human flesh type of like just earthly.
I was gonna say because I think
I don't subscribe to that.
I was like, I also think Bigfoot is an interdimensional being. So interdimensional beings, cryptids.
Well, yeah, of course.
10 out of 10.
All right. Well, all right. I'm gonna stick with a 3 just in general. But I don't know. It just. Yeah, I I don't know.
I'm surprised.
Yeah, I'm surprised too. I thought you'd give it higher. I thought the Pukwudgie was one of your favorites.
There's just really not a lot of modern encounters with these things.
So let's change that, guys. In our astral dreams tonight, Gobblesquatch and or Pukwudgie to come and attack you.
Fuck the Gobblesquatch. Pukwudgie only.
Pukwudgie only. All right. So before we end
one for myself.
Before we end tonight's episode, I want to talk a little bit about what's been going on in the UFO world, you know what I'm saying? And something that broke today, world news, is they were talking about how the government has decided to open up this new office that they are going to investigate UFOs. It's going to be very Project Blue Book like, if anyone knows about Project Blue Book.
Project Blue Beam.
Yeah, everybody is up in arms and very upset about it. And all I have to say is, what did you expect from the government?
Guys, stop listening to these people.
I'm shook. I'm surprised that people are up in arms about it, because I feel like a lot of the people nowadays have been so like pro government, take it seriously.
And then they did.
So isn't that what they wanted?
Yeah, and that's like my whole thing. It's like they say that they're going to come out with this office and they're going to investigate it, and so they're taking people's claims seriously, but they're mad about the way they're investigating it because it's not the way that they want it to get done. And what I don't understand is why people are like, that's what the government does. The government never does what you want them to do. They do it in their own way. Of course they're going to open up an office that's going to be more on the very skeptical side of things. I mean, what do you expect from them? And why on earth are we hanging on their word about like what they say? Like, daddy government does not need to tell me that UFOs are real. So somebody tweeted us today and they were like, I don't need the government to tell us UFOs are real. Experiencers tell us every day.
It sounds to me like the American empire is on its way out right now, and there will be less demand for like traditional hot war military industrial complex technology, and the government needs to pork barrel it somewhere else and feed that monkey to keep that gravy train going. So they're going to build this narrative to the public about, you know, you look at even things like Space Force and like, you know,
threat narrative over and over again.
Yeah, it's all Hegelian. Like, you know, it's like just another thing to siphon money from the public into, and then potentially one day scare the shit out of everyone with a fucking fake alien invasion and be like, well, the government was telling us about this a few years ago, so it must be true. And then here we are locked in our homes and fucking,
but the problem,
a UFO outside, Independence Day style.
Well, and it's interesting too, because just recently, like either today or yesterday, they released that rocket SpaceX did to send it off to the asteroid that they're trying to move. And so it's just the timing of all of these things are very interesting. And I wish people would focus on a bigger picture, because I think everybody is being very distracted right now, like emailing their senators and like very up in arms. But like there's so much of a bigger picture. Why don't we just stop worrying about the government investigating UFOs and do it ourselves?
Don't listen to them. I think
it's hard though. It's hard though, because like what else do they have? I feel that if you want the government and the overall people to take UFOs seriously, then what action, I'm asking you guys, like what action can they take other than opening up an office?
Let me ask you a question.
They're looking into it.
Bree,
I just asked you a question.
No, wait. This is an answer to the question. Do you take UFO seriously? Did you hear me?
She's thinking.
Of course I do, Bobby.
Right. So who gives a shit about anyone else thinks?
No,
you know
it's not about me. I'm just saying for the people. Like the people are like, take it seriously. Contacting our senators, anyone in Congress, like to take it seriously. It's a real thing. So if that's what they want, what action can they do to take it seriously?
They can lie to you
Okay, so George in the chat is saying we can't investigate ourselves. We need real skilled people and equipment, and the government has the best. I feel you. The government does have that, but why do we think that the government's going to tell us the truth with any of that information? Like, they've been investigating UFOs. That's obvious because if anything, it's a threat problem to their military, right? So we know that they're looking at it. They just aren't going to tell us any of the information. And them opening an office or them writing some bill is not going to make them change or tell us the truth about aliens or UFOs.
Not only that, but they have been doing these little UFO offices since the 40s. We started with Project Grudge. There's been so many little investigations that they've known that this is a thing for a while.
Exactly.
They do their shit, they close it. They do their shit, they close it. So I think at this point...
I'm not disputing that at all, but also I see it as, kind of a crisis in Leviathan type of situation where it's like, okay, well, there is this phenomenon. This is a good reason to justify laundering more money into whatever department we decide
bullshit they want to do. Exactly.
And then get a hold of the narrative and use it to like control or scare people or, I think it's a conditioning tactic. It's it's like anything else in the government. It's all about just pushing money around. That's my take on it.
100%. Couldn't agree more.
I just think that people are misunderstanding that the government hasn't been taking it seriously. And I think that, like I was trying to say, because they've been opening these offices since the 40s, that they have been looking into it. So obviously, if they open up an office, an investigation, and they look into it and they say there's nothing there and they close, and they do this repetitively, I believe that they do know so much more and they'll never disclose what they do know. And it's only just a public front for people to think that they're taking it seriously. And I feel like it'd be very naive to believe that they haven't before. That the government doesn't take it seriously, I think is so beyond the point.
Yeah.
They're not in the dark. Like, they're not. I don't understand why people think... Just because they don't say it to you doesn't mean that they don't take it seriously. I think that they have for a very, very long time.
Even from a purely like noble, they're here to protect us kind of angle, at best, they're like looking into it for defense purposes, be like, what the hell is this? Like, is this some other threat on planet Earth? Or, it'd be dumb not to, right? For whatever reason.
Exactly.
I just don't listen to spooks about that kind of shit. So
yeah.
But that's the thing, though, is like, if anyone should know, if we're talking just about the U.S. government, they pretty much don't give a shit about anything that happens in this country other than protecting itself.
Well, they're interested in maintaining power,
exactly,
controlling the narrative in order to maintain the power and extract more resources.
So why would anyone think that they've never taken this seriously?
Yeah,
is what I'm getting at.
No,
they're
I agree.
Not stupid. Like, they're beyond, I think, where the overall community at this point thinks that they are. So all they care about is power and control and watching out for their country in general. So obviously they think about UFOs. It's so past that. And that's why I think I've always been frustrated when things came out and people were really excited, like, oh, they're taking it seriously. And I'm just like, you think that they never did before? No, it's just that the overall front is that they can't say that. And I don't think that they ever will.
Taking it seriously and being honest with the public about it are two entirely
different things.
Very different things. Exactly. What we need to advocate for is them being more open with the public about what it is that they already did find, I think, not about like trying to get them to it. They are investigating it. Why don't they just tell us what the hell it's about? But even that, I like personally, I don't give a shit. I don't care what the government has to say. I'm like not concerned in any capacity.
Nope. This is a citizens movement.
100%.
It's really tough too, because I find that, like, when Jamie and I are in other panels with people, and I feel like this has happened so many times, where everyone else is very, like, pro this, and we're kind of the only ones, like, unimpressed. And then I get this vibe like, oh, we're like the assholes in the bunch. But I just feel like that's so misunderstood.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish that I could have maybe put like in a better little toaster strudel what I'm just said to you guys, where a little cream filled.
Remember when toaster strudels came out? We were like, yo, fuck Pop-Tarts. Those things
fuck Pop-Tarts.
Those are fucking done
trash.
now.
But at the end of the day,
trash.
that is the point. It's not that I don't care. It's not that I don't care that the government looks into it. It's that I think that they have for a very long time. And I think it's stupid, honestly,
at the very least,
they don't take it seriously and that they're just like, oh, those are nothing. Let's ignore it. No, it's just that they're ignoring it to the public because it's none of your concern.
And at the very least,
That's
any
where
kind
I
of
think they come
acknowledgement, any kind of acknowledgement from them to the public, there is 100% an agenda behind it. And I would be really careful about, taking all that at face value.
So what do you think's going to happen from this? That it's like,
well, it's giving me Storm the Capitol vibes.
What?
False
it's giving me Storm the Capitol vibes. It's giving me like everybody get together and like let's take over our Congress and bullshit so they could look at UFOs.
On that note, can we look at the Storm Area 51 thing in hindsight? Yeah, 100%. Now? That seemed like an op to me.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, you guys are in this community more than I am. Did y'all know anyone that was like all about that? Because that just seemed.
Yes.
Okay.
That was so silly.
We thought about it for 2 seconds whether or not we wanted to go, and we were like, absolutely not.
We have just gone just for like the fun. I think of it. Yes. I think
I remember
both
George
of us
Norrie
felt
was
like
very worried about people getting hurt. Like, don't do it.
I know. I think that we both felt like even if there was things at one point, they're obviously not there anymore.
No, that's a big thing I've always said about Area 51 is like the government is not stupid enough to keep anything there. It's all at Dulce. It's all an underground fucking bases. Like they just like to keep the mystery of it because then we keep going there and looking at it when there's actually not anything there.
Red herrings.
It's a full blown like distraction at the
100%.
most. Because that's the only place that people think of. They're like, let's go to Area 51. It's like, obviously, everyone knows about that now. So
and don't get me wrong. I think back in the Roswell days, that's probably where they brought the crashed UFO and the bodies. But just now, there's nothing there now of any kind of value to us. That's so far off. They would never.
Here's my rule of thumb. PSYOP until proven innocent.
100%. I like that.
With everything. Yep. Everything from those people.
For sure.
But anyway.
All right,
let's really tough though.
I'm gonna call out everyone in the chat so we can wrap the show up. So like, hi Kevin, hey Solid, hey Vanessa, hey Chad Smith, hey Cambion, hey Renee, hey John, hey Amy, hey Sunny. Thank you guys all. Hey Zach, thank you guys all for coming to our show and our live. I know this was super last minute, so it was nice of everyone to show up.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Oh, hi Joey, Spaghetti Lee, I love you.
Gobble smack.
Yeah, you guys.
Gobble smack. Gobble smack, gobble squash, gobble ass. We've been calling it all kinds of things in
all
our
kinds of things. Group chat.
Hey, can I put this out there? Let's take requests for the next cryptid to cover.
Absolutely, you guys. Put it in the chats. DM us. Tell us what you guys want us to do next. What cryptid sounds fun to you guys. And thanks you guys for hanging out. We have an episode dropping on Friday, so make sure you're there for that. We have the abduction hotline. We have somebody live. It's not a voicemail. We have Vanessa who came on, and we got some cool stuff coming up in the next few weeks. So we'll see you guys on the next time.
Yes, love you all.
Peace.
Love you all. Bye.
Bye.